Okay, next game. Now, I had an argument with chess.com on what the game of the day was, and I thought it should be the other game, and the chess.com guy said, yeah, probably other commentators are going to do the other game, but this game almost cements Jan winning the tournament, so we should show this game. And it is true, since Geary's playing so well, I keep showing Geary games. And the other issue is, the reason Jan is a big favorite now is he wins on tie breaks against Geary. So if they tie for first, Jan wins. So Geary's half a point behind, and he has to finish half a point ahead. There's 2 rounds left. So he's a big favorite, Jan. So if he's going to win the tournament, we should show one of his games. He won with black, etc. Now, since the restart of round 8, from last year, black has won 0 games. As Aviv would say, until now. Now, for $1 trillion, who's he referencing? Until now. Black hasn't won a game. Until now.
I don't know.
It's from Get Smart. It's Harry Who. Harry Who's detective like Maxwell Smart. And he's also like silly like him. Like he says stuff and it's nonsense. So Aviv's favorite scene is Harry Who says, and he gives a long speech about why some guy's the killer. And he says, and that's how I realized you are the killer. And then the guy falls down dead. And he says, until now. Then he says, okay, you're the killer, like somebody else. Yeah. I knew it was you who was the killer. Until now. Harry Who. Yeah, Harry Who's the best.
Ben is such a nerd.
That's a big no, Jim Morrison. What's an anagram of Jim Morrison, which Jim Morrison sings in one of his songs? And like half of you people don't know this. You've not said it on stream.
I know. I remember you saying it too.
Mr. Mojo Rising.
Oh yeah.
That's Jim Morrison, but it's an anagram.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, see, that guy knew. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. Fressinet is correct. Wait, what? What's my favorite movie quote of all time? I don't know. I actually have a poster with a list of movie quotes. I mean, you hear me talking, hillbilly boy? I ain't through with you by damn sight. I'm going to get medieval on your ass. That's a good one. Then he says other stuff, which I can't say because we're streaming. Yeah, I banned immediately. Yeah, because they're hard pipe hitting something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to go to work on the homes here. Yeah, that's a great one. Okay, back to the game. Everybody Wang Hao tonight. Everybody Wang Hao tonight. So in 2011, as you all know, they don't know, I accompanied Hikaru Nakamura to Moscow for the Tall Memorial. And I wasn't going to bring a coat because, I don't wear a coat too often. And it was November in Moscow. And they were like, hey, you should bring a coat. And I was like, all right. If I didn't bring a coat, I wouldn't have come back alive. It was 1 billion degrees below zero Celsius. It is the coldest place ever. November 2011 in Moscow. I'm glad I had a coat. I needed a bigger coat, but okay, coat. Anyway, so in that tournament, Nepomniachtchi played, and we thought he would come in last. He was the lowest rated player. Very strong tournament. Hikaru, Kramnik, Gelfand, Anand, Carlsen, and some stronger players. I missed the stronger players, sorry. And the world champion at the time was Anand. And Anand was going to play in a few months against Gelfand for the world championship. Okay, it was old school. Anyway, Carlsen won the first game, drew the next 7, and won the last game and tied for first and won on tiebreak. And the shocking result was Jan Nepomniachtchi, 1 win, 8 draws. I'm like, I thought he was going to lose all his games. I didn't know who he was. And then I saw him in China, and he was amazing in China. He was really good at the World Team Championship. Somehow that was before Moscow, so now my story doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway.
How old is he?
Jan, he's early 30s, I guess. Very early. Maybe 20s. That's how early. Okay. So here's the game. It's the most boring game of the round, and yet it's the game of the day.
29.
Makes you think. Yeah. Not 29, 20.
9?
C plus. Yeah. Okay. Now this game is very boring. Game of the day. I made a video on it for chess.com's YouTube page. I'm sure you've already watched it. Now, I got another $1 trillion question for you. Ready? Okay. They played a Petrov. Okay. And the main move used to be d4. It was the only move. Then 30 years ago, people started playing this, as in the famous game, Zapata Anand. You know how that game went?
No.
You ready?
I know.
I'm going to show you the whole game.
I know it's real quick.
The whole game.
Anand
Here,
resigns.
here, resigns. That was played in 1988 in July. Resigns. This is a blunder. I could tell you long stories about why Anand played it. I could tell you how I teased him. But, you know, I can't tease him anymore. You know why? Oh, man, this is a good joke. Hoo-hoo. Hoo-hoo. Oh, this is like one of my top 10 jokes ever.
I'm afraid of it.
You know why I can't tease him now? His hair's fake. Truth hurts. And so forth. And so on. Yeah. Well, thanks, George 212 for 300 centidues. Truth hurts. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's correct. That's a joke they can get. Why is it a blunder? You lose it, you lose. That's why. So in this position, what the hell? In this position, white's threatening to win a knight. So you got two moves, d5 and queen e7. There are no other moves to defend your knight. Well, queen h4 defends your knight. Oh, snap. If you play d5, d3, and you win the knight. So queen e7 is forced. I mean, sort of. Then knight d5. You hear me talking, hillbilly boy? He ain't through with you by damn sight. Now he's threatening this. And there's also threatening this. So if you go here, you're getting beat. If you go here or here, defending the pawn, then the knight's pinned again. d3 resigns. That was Zapata Anand, and Zapata lives in Atlanta now for years. Yeah. So I played Anand once in a FIDE-rated game. It was a draw from this tournament. I have props for the stream. Okay. And Zapata played him and beat him. So Anand coming to Atlanta, kick your ass. Right? You agree. Okay. Yeah. Etc. Anand had hell to pay. That's for my brother. Because of that blunder. Yeah. Well, you know what they say, here today, gone tomorrow. All right. Anyway, let's continue. He played d3, which is very boring. Now there's a $1 trillion question coming.
All right.
Guess it's a Petrov. We'll go back to show you it's a Petrov, right? Okay. d3 is a very, not a common move, but okay. Symmetrical. What opening does this remind you of? Remember, it was a Petrov. Now what does it remind you of?
What opening?
I can't give you a hint because it's too easy.
I don't know. I feel like, is there some joke?
No.
Oh, you're really...
No, I got some of the right answers in the chat and some of the wrong answers. That's not how you spell Kali. Kali has 2 L's. You should really be sad about that. I would say you should be melancholy. Yay!
Kali?
Casey Ingram 76 donated 10 subs. That's the spirit. Because it's 76.
Yeah.
You don't know? It's okay if you don't know. You done? Because I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, it looks a little bit like an exchange.
Yeah, a little bit.
What?
You've had this position 800,000 times. Now, you watching?
Nobody said that.
You watch it? They did exchange French. We said,
I didn't see that.
Watch. Okay.
I hate the exchange.
What do you play here?
If I'm, let's see. I actually usually play Bishop G4.
Immediately?
Or Knight F6.
Right, Knight F6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the position.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is they're closer to time control in the other one. Because both sides have made 4 moves here.
Mm.
But in the actual game, they did some crazy stuff. So now both sides have made 6 moves, 2 extra moves, closer to time control, right? Or as Indigo Girls would say. Okay.
So hang on a minute. So that implies. So I don't know the outcome of the game because I haven't seen any of the games. So by you saying that, you're saying that they were just trying to draw.
No, this is the boring opening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by
Yeah.
that.
Now, which physicist?
Closer to the time control.
Right.
Like they were trying to just.
Which physicist likes boring chess?
Which, Bohr.
Yeah, Niels Bohr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So the game is really boring.
All right, here we go.
Now, Karen's a low-rated player compared to like these people.
Mm-hmm.
If you were black, would you take with a bishop or the king? Or would you play other?
If I were black, let's see.
Jim Carrey's a genius. Andy Kaufman's a genius. Christopher Lloyd's a genius. John Belushi was a genius, etc.
I'm not sure because both seem bad. I guess I would take with the bishop.
Right. Lower-rated players take with a bishop, which is fine. Nothing wrong with it. But king takes is better. And
Well, let's the rook out. I couldn't.
lets the rook out,
better.
and the bishop's better on d6 than e7.
Yeah.
On e7, it's going to get it.
I was just felt like it was a little scary there. 'Cause if they
Right.
cancel-
Low-rated players are like, what? King here? Ridiculous. Now, you guys should love this move because, unlike me, you love the bomb cloud. You love it, right? I think because you were dropped on your head as a kid. That's probably why. Now, the king is perfectly safe. The rook
king's
gets
dropped
out.
forward.
The king has a safe square. The bishop's better on d6 than e7. And some people do take with the bishop, but I would take with the king.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
They're
point.
like, Bong Cloud. No wonder that move is good.
The queen
Okay, now we have to take a station identification here. We need 3 subs in the next 20 seconds. So if everybody who's watching gives 3 subs, I can retire. If all 4,000 of you give 3 subs, I'm good.
Wait, what is...
10 seconds. Can they do it? Or are we going to die on level 4? Boo. Thaddeus gave 1 sub. Man, that's like a fork in the eye. Bam! Xanth, you got it in just in time. That's what she said. Hope you have prophylaxis. Xanth 13 gifted 5 subs. You're the best person who ever lived. Except for everybody else. Grizzly Cheeks subscribed with Prime. Thanks, Grizzly. Samuel Mayfield, another 5 subs again. Man, I tricked you. I mean, thanks, guys. Yeah. Hype Train. Exactly. NFT2 subscribed. All right, now we're doing great. Sergey and chess. In Soviet Russia, Sergey plays chess. Yeah. Thanks for the gifted sub. All right. Yay, you have to give 157%.
Yeah, you're off the camera a little bit.
Okay.
But you just gotta
Whatever. They don't want to see me. They want to see you.
They do.
Yeah.
The rain is loud.
Yeah. Karen's commentary is top shelf. What? Okay. Level 6. Yeah.
I know. I do too. Chess. We want chess.
Man, your spelling of prophylaxis is frankly ridiculous. Okay. Castles. Now, when I gave the game of the day spiel today on chess.com YouTube, I explained that one of the reasons Hal played d3, which is unusual, is he probably figured Nepomniachtchi doesn't play the Petrov. That's not his style. And he doesn't know these unusual lines. Now, so far he's shown that he does. Then he played this. It was obvious. Because if you didn't know the line, you'd probably play rook e8, king f8, which is fine. Knight c6 is actually a great move. Because what black wants to play knight b4. Knight b4 what? I don't know. Before white does something. And the bishop can't move after knight b4 because c2 is hanging. If you don't move the bishop, I take it. And that's no good. Now, everybody always plays rook e1 check here. And then black has to play bishop e6 or move his king to somewhere stupid. Wang Hao played c3 novelty. Nepomniachtchi didn't know the move c3, so he was PO'd. Brady T1010 subscribed. Go sub battle. Yeah. Man, and your spelling of ridiculous is ridiculous. Wait, don't Greeks have their own alphabet? So you just spelled it in the Latin alphabet? Terrible. You're banned. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Porto Carras and take care of you, so watch it. All right. Banned forever. Yeah. Okay, for $1 trillion, if you're going to Porto Carras, okay?
Yeah.
Which airport do you fly into in Greece? That's the closest. An international flight.
Yeah, I'm not going to know it.
You can do it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to know it.
Constantinople is close, except for one thing. What is Porto Cas? That's not what I said. Yay! Thessaloniki. They had an Olympiad there before you were born. Look at that, you were born, though. Okay. Yeah, Thessaloniki is correct. All right. H6. Again, you would think he would want to do something about this, and he did. This is a very advanced move. So, in the case where white plays rook e1 check and black plays bishop e6, then white would want to play knight g5. Or maybe bishop g5, but not anymore. So h6 stops, it takes away this square, so bishop e6 is fine. Now here, Wang Hao made a really unusual piece sacrifice, and Nepomniachtchi watches my stream a lot. He raided me once. He did raid me once. And he played rook h7, sacking the exchange. Now, this was a blunder because he forgot, he saw that, but he forgot the bishop was there. So Wang Hao said, that's terrible, and let him take the move back. And then Nepomniachtchi said, well, that's terrible. So he let Wang Hao take that back. Okay, he touched his knight, so he has to move it, right?
Okay.
So he played knight h4. All right. What percentage of the chat believes me? Like 30%? Mm-hmm. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, when I went home, thanks for the 21 subs and 500 bits. When I went home earlier after making the video, before I got to my car, there was a rock on the ground. It wasn't a rock. No, it was actually a rock. It wasn't a rock lobster. And the rock spoke to me. And he said, excuse me. I'm like, what? And he said, please don't compare me to the people who watch your stream. He heard that I said the people were dumb as a rock, and he was really insulted. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. It wasn't a rock. Okay. So knight h4 obviously loses time, right? And the thing is, Wang Hao's second was Rosemary, and she wanted him to lose time because she wanted him all to herself. Terrible. Yeah. Partially correct. It turned out the move wasn't bad, so in the end, she was sage. Okay, so he wants to get the two bishops and play knight f5, but he's not developing. So, I don't know. Rook e8, check, take. Freyel subscribe, maybe. Yeah. Take his word for granted if the rock talks to you. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes like that on the Flintstones. A lot. Yeah, a lot of jokes. Yeah. Boo is correct. I already said she was sage. Come on, what's going on here? I already made a sage joke. Terrible. Yeah. Okay, so white has the obvious advantage of the two bishops. But this bishop is shallow and pedantic. It can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. It's behind all these pawns. Terrible. And this is ridiculous. And black's looking good, right? You know why he looks good? Man bun.
What?
Man bun.
Man pun?
Man bun.
Okay.
What? Why is that funny?
I don't understand how that's a man bun.
No, it's Jan. He has a man bun.
I know he has a man bun.
Yeah. Yeah. People rocking the man bun. That's correct.
I'm not a fan of the man bun.
Your wife is beautiful. I'd like to take her over a bishop pair. Man, the truth hurts. You'd rather have my wife than the bishop pair? The bishop pair is pretty good. Yeah. What's funny is I met a pair of bishops, and they were like, you know, your wife's good looking. And I said, oh, did you want her? And they said, no. Wrong everything. Wrong age, wrong gender. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Truth hurts. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't like the insinuation of what they were saying. So what did I do to them? I smacked those bitch ups. Yeah, smacked them. Okay. Is she single? My wife? Maybe. I don't know. Etc.
All right, oh, come on. Let's do some chess.
But these guys love it. 4,000 viewers. Okay. And he played King F8 finally. And black, everything's perfect. Except white has the two bishops. Yeah. But, you know, they're not really doing much. Grandmaster Gus gifted a sub. Hooray! Jordan von F. Wrong age, wrong gender. That's right. And for more information about, you know, the church, there's a South Park episode, definitely one of the top episodes, where the devil has a Halloween party. Definitely one of the top episodes. For sure. I want you to watch that episode. I think you'll just die laughing. There's so many funny things in that episode. Watch how they back me up. They'll be like, oh my God, I forgot about that episode. Yeah. Yeah. Hell on Earth. Yeah. They know what I'm talking about. Ben missed my joke. You made a joke? How do you get a nun pregnant? You dress her up as an altar boy. That's not a joke. That's just true. All right. Bishop pair Karen. Hey, you're winning. You're better than the bishop pair. Man.
I didn't even know there was a poll.
Yeah, that's right. There's a poll for everything. Yeah. I didn't see the COVID show, but I heard about it. Yeah.
I do like having the bishop pair.
The Robot Devils, that's a great character. Okay. So G3, and you'll actually see the purpose of this in a few moves. Not only does it give white luft and squares for his pieces, it takes away these squares, which black could have tried to play after knight e7 attacking the bishop. I don't like h3. I prefer d3. Doesn't matter. Now, after knight g6, which is the kind of move I would play, g3 really crushes the knight on that can't go anywhere. So now, Jan played like Karen, because Karen has black in these positions a lot. He played knight c8, always retreat. He's opening up his rook, and his knight wants to go to b6. And okay, white finally developed a piece. They played very boring. I don't like f3, not because I don't like f3, which is a reason, but I really don't like f3 here. But it's not terrible. He wants to play king here, and he wants to stop the black knight from penetrating. If the black knight penetrates, that could hurt. So he tries to penetrate with his other knight. White used more prophylaxis. Man, it's getting scary over here. Yeah. And ouch. Hi, everyone. Wait, the game wasn't resigned on purpose? Am I missing something? What? English. Could you explain knight f1? I can. Okay, so in this position, white could play knight f3 and try to use these squares. He decided to play knight f1 for several reasons. The knight could go to e3 later. He wants to keep this knight out, so he was thinking instead of knight f3, he'll play f3, and now his bishop can get out. So when the knight was on d2, the bishop couldn't move. So he's going to go here later, maybe. He's going to move his bishop, maybe. Going to play f3 and king f2. So that's why he played knight f1 instead of knight f3. I'm not saying it's better. Knight f3 is probably better. All right. It's a really dry position, right? And the reason it's dry, mainly, is because of the prophylaxis. Okay.
Come on.
What?
Stay on task.
Yeah. Hey. Local, what? Geary taking this poll by storm. Wait, what? Geary? It's another poll. Who do you want to win the candidates? I don't know, Karen? Can I vote for Karen? How come nobody voted for Pat Buchanan? I don't understand it. Because of my fine-tuned sense of humor, we have more viewers than ever. 4323. In the year 4323.
Well, I want to vote.
All right. I'll vote for you. Who you want?
Wait a minute. You're going so fast. I don't want to influence, but just put your cursor somewhere. No. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And on Futurama, it was the year 25 when their time machine was going too quickly. All right. Now, I'm trying to give some humorous analysis, but to be honest, it's a boring drawn position. It's a draw. It's boring. The engine says all zeros. The pawn structure is symmetrical. White's two bishops don't matter much. White's playing very safe, so black's knights can't get anywhere. And nobody can do anything. Okay, but Wang Hao said genius thing at the press conference. He really did. Mm-hmm. He said, after move 40, I played like a 2200 player. Now, that's a pretty big burn. He could have said 1400. He could have said 60. He said 2200. So that's what he thinks of players 2200 and below. He's trying to insult the way he was playing. He's like, 2200, that's pretty insulting. Yeah, harsh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, truth hurts. Yeah. Also, I agree. And when I did my game of the day, I said, Wang Hao played fine until move 39, and then he played terrible. I don't know. It happens. Yeah. Yay, Geary wins, who Karen voted for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thaddeus was right, but I did vote for Geary.
All right. So, okay, very boring. Nothing happened. Nothing's happening. Okay. I like rook c8 because the move bishop e3 shows that Wang Hao's playing for a win. If he wants to draw, he can play stripper chess. And what do they do in stripper chess? They take it all off, right? So he could just capture everything and it's equal. But he's like, two bishops, I want to win. Although he didn't say it that way. Okay, and then Nepomniachtchi is like, well, if you're going to play for a win, I'm going to play for a win. And the arbiter showed up and told him to be quiet. No talking. Okay, and Jan played rook a c8 to play c5 because this will eventually become a backward pawn, which it did. If you don't know what a backward pawn is, ask Farnsley 69.
I don't understand the move.
Which one?
Bishop g5.
No dice. 24.
I just don't understand it.
Bishop g5 is a good square for the bishop, and black didn't like that, so black maneuvered to kick it out. Which is sitting there great. It's
no, that was fine. I'm talking about, but okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood what you said.
Okay, so rook c8's now. What? You've heard of the knight's tour. Wang Hao's giving the bishop's tour. He's trying on every square for size. reminds me of the famous game that Morphe won that I show a lot, where white plays bishop a3, bishop f8, bishop a3, bishop c1, bishop f4, resigns soon thereafter. So he retreated, okay, because he wants to defend this pawn. And after here, he's like, all right, black has an isolated pawn. But I would say this pawn isn't as weak as this pawn. This pawn's defended by the knight and you can't attack it. This pawn, no good. The bishop's defending it, terrible. So white is very passive, okay, but two bishops and still sort of boring. So it's still equal. Okay, and now Wang Hao played a plan that probably wasn't right, but still draws. The engine wants them to do nothing. Super GMs are good at doing nothing, except these super GMs. They don't like to do nothing. Anish likes to do nothing. Fabi likes to do nothing. Carlson likes to do nothing. And I can name a lot of super GMs from the last 50 years who are very slow and methodical and so forth. And these guys aren't like that. These guys like to be active. So when he played rook b1, he wanted to play b4 and change it up. Now, in 1992 and 1993, I had the Sanford Fellowship. Which grandmaster coached me?
What year?
92, 93, when I had the Sanford Fellowship. Born and bred in Kentucky, the Lexington Lion. And by born in Kentucky, he wasn't born in Kentucky, but he's lived there like 35 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gregory Kaidanov. And Kaidanov said my biggest weakness, which is what Wang Hao is doing, is I always try to change the position. I don't try to incrementally improve my position. I'm always doing something and it ruins my position and I lose. And Yasser Seirawan, before you were born, wrote a really nice article in his own magazine, Inside Chess. And he said there's four kinds of players, tactics. And the fourth kind was the best, because he was the fourth kind, which was a builder. You build. You do this and this and this and this and this, and then you win. Not that you're just going crazy like Fox News. What's funny was Fox News didn't exist when he wrote the article. So he was ahead of his time. So playing rook b1, b4 changes the character of the game. Now something's going to happen. Pawns are going to get traded. Pieces are going to get traded. Activity. This pawn's going to be passed. This pawn. It changes everything. Luckily for Hao, maybe it's not luck, he's still fine. And how? Okay, they traded rooks. They traded pawns. And in this position, I think the reason Wang Hao played this way, was he expected bishop takes c3, and the engine says after that it's completely equal. And Nepomniachtchi played a better move, the best move, knight d6. Why is this better? Well, the knight's good on d6. Now the rook has to make a decision he doesn't want to make. And probably Wang Hao, when he played this sequence of moves, probably thought, I'll go here and I'm a pawn up. He probably thought that 5 or 6 moves ago. But that's a very bad move. Now black has a big advantage, maybe winning. What's the winning or good move for black?
Let's see.
Jackson Showalter. Is it W. Jackson Showalter? I think so. Karpov Unzicker. Grandmaster Gus, if you've ever watched football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, the coach of the team is always worse than all the players. That's life. Yeah, the coach coaches you. He tells you what your weaknesses are because it's hard to see your own weaknesses. And the coach also can tell you what other players' weaknesses are that you're playing, and they can do databases for you and set things up for you, give you studies you don't know. The coach doesn't have to be better than you. Now, when you're rated like 1,100 like you are, 1,200, 1,300, the coach should be better than you because you're a beginner. But when you're 25, 26, 2700, the coach can be anybody who's reasonable that's a good coach. And, like, for example, Agard is a good coach. And he's not better than anybody, but he's a good coach. So, yes?
I mean, I wasn't sure. I was going to say knight c4. Maybe.
No. Knight c4 is not bad.
Yeah.
But it's d4.
d4.
See the pin? Now, you might say that's not pinned, that's defended. That's because there's many pins. If you go here, I take, and I pin again. And then if you defend your knight, if you do, then I attack it again. So you lose a piece. And if you don't take on d4, you're in trouble. The engine plays c4 because it's explosive. That's the engine move. Then if you take this, the knight takes, defending the pawn. So you play knight takes, attacking the bishop twice. Then if you take, and I take, the engine really likes black because the bishop is terrible. The king is open on the second rank because of f3. The knight is terrible. This knight's coming in. His pawn's moving. Rook c2 check. Maybe white can draw. Maybe. So knight d6, I think, surprised Wang Hao. He thought, which was probably a draw because the knight's here. Yeah. Now, the problem with rook a7 is the rook doesn't participate in any part of the game here. What it does do is it helps the a-pawn forward. So that's why he played rook a7. Bishop d7 is a great move because the bishop sucks here. And probably Wang Hao thought this is just a draw. It's equal material. This will try to queen. This will try to queen. They'll trade pawns. It'll be a draw. Most of that happened. Okay. He played rook c6. And over the next 2 or 3 moves, Wang Hao played very badly. This position, white has 3 reasonable looking moves. Okay? There's the stop short. That's a good move. Right? Who invented that move?
The stop short?
Stop short.
I don't know. Nigel Short?
No,
I don't know
come
what you
on.
said. I don't know what stop short means.
Oh, come on. Let's see if the chat knows. Damn.
Hey, I can't see the
Yep,
chat.
the chat knows. Frank Costanza, George's dad.
Oh.
Okay. So stop short. Then when Kramer tried it with his wife, man, he was mad, even though that's not what happened. Okay. So white should play king f2, improving his king, or play knight e3, improving his knight, or knight d2, improving his knight. Those are all reasonable. And I made a comment, this move made no sense at all on the YouTube video that I've already made. And there was a guy in the chat, he was furious. He's like, you keep saying you don't like these moves and this and that. Says, you probably think your bathwater tastes good. Now, okay, it does, but that's not the point. So he was mad that I was criticizing moves that are bad. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I set back GMs like 30 years with a comedy sketch. Sorry. What was I referencing? Chappelle Show.
Yeah. Hey, now listen, I have to go after this game because my kids...
You have kids?
I need to attend to my children.
I was going to marry her, and then this guy said, dude, she has 2 kids. And I was like, oh, Simpsons. Yeah. Homer often forgets that he has a baby Maggie, and he corrects people that say he has 3 kids. I have 2 kids. And then they're like, what about Maggie? He says, oh, I got nothing against Maggie. Maggie shot Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. All right. 2 kids, what else? That's right. Okay. I have kids. Psh, get that out of here. Yeah. The real Greco subscribe. Good. Let's get to 3,200 subs. I agree. Okay. So instead, he played this horrible move. And I said on my video earlier, if I was white and it was my move, I would go here. The rook does nothing there except give black the latent potential. And probably Wang Hao quit school in like the 7th grade because if he had more than... Your battery's running low. If he had more than an 8th grade education, he would know the difference between latent potential and actualized potential. And in this position, black can't move his knight because of the pawn. He can't move his rook because of the knight. So this is great. But he played here. Now black can do everything. And Anand was very unhappy. He was doing live commentary. He said, before that move, black could do Vishwa nothing. Now he can do Vishwa something. Terrible. Yeah. And the funny thing is, he was so mad, he was shaking, and then his hair was falling off, so he had to put it back. Terrible. Okay. He had hell to pay, as Mark would say. All right, check. Now, as I said in my previous video, you'll like this reference too. White has a Sophie's choice. Except this ain't no movie, right? What percentage of the chat knows what Sophie's choice is? Not much?
Maybe
10%.
10, yeah, 10.
Yeah. So, shoot them both. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark. So King H3, that's no good. King G1, that's no good. But you got to play one of them. I don't know. Horrible. They're both horrible. Yeah. The engine says they're the same. They're just both horrible. One of my children knows. Oh, snap. If you watch Rick and Morty, and if you don't, you should probably leave. If you watch Rick and Morty, there's an episode where at some point there's a bad guy, and he has the kids and Beth. And he said, okay, Beth, pick one of your kids, and I'm going to kill them. If you don't pick, I'll kill them both. So who do you want to save? And she instantly says, Summer, 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 Summer. And then, and Morty's like, what? Like immediately. And then Rick shows up and kills the guy. So now Morty's pretty mad. Summer, Summer, Summer. Farty Party 927 gifted a sub. Yeah, and as you all know, the person who plays Summer is Spencer Grammer. Spencer Grammer is a girl. And unlike Spencer Feingold, same spelling, and that's Kelsey Grammer's daughter. I hope you've learned something today. Okay, so King G1, I think that's better than King H3. I like that my knight's defended. I don't like either move. And now he plays Rook D7. Terrible. Okay, Wang Hao did the best he could. He got counterplay with his A-pawn, and he pushed it all the way up. H4 is a really good move. He wants to play H3, then the white king is terrible. And he also wants white to take, so white loses all of his pawns. Yeah. You might say, why doesn't white play G4? He did. That didn't work out well. So first he tried to queen. Okay. And then white can't move anything. Now this is his last chance. Although he resigns early, so maybe it's not his last chance. Maybe he would have resigned anyway when he was equal. All right. And it's funny, Wang Yui, who was better than Wang Hao for a long time, I don't think Wang Yui plays chess anymore, but he was the number one player in China. He showed up after the game and analyzed with them, and every variation they looked at was incorrect. Do you know why? Two Wangs don't make a right. Okay, so what he should do is play knight to d2, which theoretically hangs the knight, but it doesn't, because the rook needs to stay behind the pawn. So if you go here, white can move his rook anywhere and then queen, or he could play rook check and then queen would check, which is, and it's still a draw, but okay, black's not better. And if you don't take the knight, now white's knight is pretty good. And maybe white gets some counterplay. So that was the last chance. Instead he played G4, probably recommended by Matt Larson, probably. And in fact, Matt Larson texted me, this is not a joke, and said, didn't Wang resign early? And I'm like, well, he played G4, no wonder you thought he resigned early. Knight D6, and he played Rook B8, which also isn't very good. His idea was to trade this pawn for this pawn. Once this pawn is gone, probably figured it was close to a draw, because it's Rook Knight and 3 against Rook Knight and 3 on the same side.
How would it have still been a draw if they went knight D2?
It's not a draw, but white has good drawing chances because the knight's going to get active instead of staying here.
No, I'm saying if... Oh, I thought you meant it would still draw if black took.
Yeah, because this position is, a rook, a knight, and a pawn for a queen. Okay. White's not had material. I would take black here. Black has a passed pawn. King's no good. The engine says it's equal.
Yeah.
Kitsune Cavalry subscribed. we send in the cavalry. Blah, blah, blah. When I needed my ad block most, it vanished. Okay. So instead he played g4. And now he played rook b8 to trade pawns. He attacked the pawn. The pawn moved. He can't attack it on d4 because rook a3 defends it. So he attacks it this way. Fine. And he got his position he thought he could probably draw because it's, so the mem shows me. Okay. And the problem is white just can't move here. White's king is ridiculous. He gets mated sometimes. Black's king can move all over the board. And the winning idea, there's two winning ideas. He did the one that doesn't win as much, is to play rook g2, king h1, and get this knight to f2, which is mate. Mm-hmm. So he tried to do that, and white stopped him. But then the other winning idea happened, which I'll show you. Okay, king f8, king is safe. Here. Okay, now black wants to play knight d1 attacking the rook, and then hopefully knight f2 mate. What white should do, thanks for the sub, DS Panda. What he should do is play knight e4 so the knight can't go here. And the engine says black should still win because that's the worst king I've ever seen. That's not why it says he would win, because it's the worst king I've ever seen. But okay. Now, instead, he prevented the knight from going here forever, right? And then he said, sorry, miss. Okay, check and rook here. Now the knight can't come to f2 and give mate. Problem with this, stopping this, is he can't defend his f3 pawn. Never play f3. That's the problem with g4. The pawn's on g3, you could play f4. So once you play g4, this pawn's even weaker. So he just attacked it and there's no defense. Okay, and in this position, everybody was surprised. Everybody. All the GMs. Because he resigned here. Just down a pawn with all the pawns on the same side. So a lot of them were like, what? Why are you resigning? And as I said on my video, I looked at this position with three engines. Two of my engines said black is up 2.1, which should win. Stockfish 13 at depth 51 said black is up 5. So the engines are like resigning good, and humans are like, why are you resigning? Now, white has a lot of problems. He's down a pawn. His king is terrible. Black's king is perfectly safe. And this pawn's really, really weak. And he's down a pawn. He has a lot of problems. And he is losing with correct play. But you shouldn't resign here, especially with the tournament situation. And Hikaru, strangely, interviewed Geary after the games. And he said, what'd you think of Wang Hao's resignation here? And Geary said, frankly, ridiculous. Something like that. Yeah, so this resignation was early, but Stockfish 13 said good resignation. So I don't know. I would never consider resigning. I wouldn't think of it. Very complicated Futurama reference I just did. Yeah. So these two guys are running for president, John Jackson and Jack Johnson, and they look exactly the same. And Leela says, don't let their identical DNA fool you. They differ on many positions. And one of them says, I think that his 3-cent titanium tax doesn't go far enough. The other guy says, I think it goes too far, his 3-cent the same thing, but they argued a lot. And yeah, great episode. Politics 101. That's one of my favorite lines. And then the guy disappears. All right, the next 2 hours, we're talking about Futurama. 4,300 viewers. Yeah, go Robo Nixon. That's right. He had a whole new body. I'll have a croque monsieur, the paella, 2 mutton pills, and a stein of mead. That's right. That's what the professor ordered back in the past. Yeah. They brought him a cheeseburger.
Hey, I'm going to go home just because, make sure the kids get to bed, or at least Archer gets to bed.
Mm-hmm. I can't get to sleep. I think about Nepomniachtchi. His analysis is too deep. All right, bye, sweetie.
Bye. How many more? Oh, I don't mind a hug, but No making out on the stream. Ben
Why not?
likes to make out.
I like to make out on the stream.
Yeah, you tricked me one time.
Mm-hmm. When Zap Brannigan had to do lip identification with this computer to enter somewhere,
Yeah.
he was kissing it, and the computer said, no tongue. So,
Don't forget to tickle. No tickling.
She
No
means you should-
making out.
What about Hypnotoad? All glory to Hypnotoad. Yeah,
Where's that clip?
yeah, she's making that up.
He's always.
I'm
likes
pure as the driven
PDAs.
snow,
He likes PDAs.
but I drifted. All right,
Okay,
for $2 trillion, that's
Yeah.
how hard it is. What TV show had the line, "I'm pure as the driven snow," and the other guy said, "Yeah, but you drifted."
I mean,
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Then the guy who said you drifted, he hit the other guy.
Hit him.
Yeah, that gives you a good chance to get it.
Three Stooges.
Yes, yes, we're rich. Yeah,
I've won like $3 trillion.
I'm pure as the driven snow, but you
did
drifted.
it.
Then he beats him up. Yeah, Three Stooges is correct. Yeah.
All right. I'm
Okay,
moving.
before we do the last game, we'll say goodbye to Karen, and then I'm going to tell you a really
Bye.
long Three Stooges story.
Okay.
Then we'll do the
bye.
last game. Okay. My favorite thing that ever happened in the Three Stooges. Okay? Yeah. My favorite. Don't forget your phone right here. They're fishing on a fishing boat, and they're on opposite sides of the boat. Okay? Curly's fishing and Moe's fishing. And their lines get crossed under the boat, so they're both pulling and nothing's happening.